Welcome to this explainer. Okay, so if you spent the last week writing brilliant code that was, immediately thrown out just because of a misunderstood requirement, you're really going to want to hear this. We are looking at a massive paradigm shift happening right now in software engineering. It's a movement that strongly suggests the era of code being the ultimate deliverable, well, it might actually be coming to an end. I know, it sounds a bit radical, but as we navigate the incredible rise of AI, the entire way we build software is fundamentally changing. I mean, think about it. We've poured literal billions of dollars into things like Kubernetes, insanely complex DevOps pipelines, and trying to secure those elusive 10x engineers. But despite all of this massive investment, software projects still fail all the time. They run way over budget, they blow past deadlines, and they completely miss business expectations. Why? Because quite frankly, too often teams start building before they truly understand what is actually needed.
Section 1. The clarity problem.
The reality is, most organizations don't actually have a coding problem. The code itself, usually totally fine. What they suffer from is a lack of clarity. When assumptions are made and important questions are just kind of glossed over, it inevitably leads to massive rework after stakeholders review the final product. You've probably experienced this yourself, building the wrong thing, but building it perfectly. It's literally the fastest way to turn a standard 2-week sprint into a grueling 6-month nightmare of scope creep and completely frustrated teams.
Section 2. What is spec-driven development?
Right, so to solve this clarity problem, the industry is increasingly turning to a methodology known as spec-driven development, or SDD for short. And in SDD, the specification isn't just some dusty Confluence page that gets thrown into a shared folder and forgotten about. No, it becomes the primary artifact. It is the absolute foundation for design, for testing, and especially for AI-generated outputs. The entire goal here is to eliminate ambiguity completely before a single line of implementation code is even written.
Here's the absolute critical distinction. Features describe what needs to be built, intent explains why. Capturing this intent is the beating heart of SDD. Actually, to put it simply, it is essentially the difference between building software correctly and building the correct software.
Let's look at a real-world example. Imagine a Jira ticket just drops right onto your desk, and it simply says, "Build a customer support chatbot." Now, from a feature perspective, any good developer knows exactly how to spin that up. You know the APIs to call, you know how to build the interface. Piece of cake, right?
But wait, look at the underlying intent here. Is this chatbot meant to aggressively reduce support costs by deflecting tickets away from human agents? Or is it meant to handle 3 a.m. requests when human agents are just asleep, so it can seamlessly hand off the context the next morning? If your goal is reducing costs, you're going to build one system. If your goal is improving satisfaction, you build a completely different one. If you don't know the intent up front, you will almost certainly build the wrong chatbot.
Section 3. How SDD actually works. So how do we put this into practice without, drowning in endless stand-ups and planning meetings? Well, it's a concrete 5-step pipeline. It starts with intent discovery, really finding that why. Then specification creation, locking in a single source of truth. Step 3 is validation and alignment with all your stakeholders. And notice this, only after these 3 steps are locked in do we actually hit development. That means developers spend way less time interpreting vague requirements. And finally, testing and verification, where the tests are derived directly from the spec itself.
Now, I hear this a lot. People ask, hey, does this replace Agile? Are we going back to the dark ages of waterfall? Absolutely not. Agile provides the delivery framework, the adaptability, the iterative feedback, while SDD provides the upfront clarity. They aren't competing with each other at all. They're actually an incredibly powerful combination that strengthens your overall process.
Section 4. AI and the new bottleneck. Because let's be honest, today's LLMs are absolutely staggering. They can draft acceptance criteria, design APIs, write implementation code, and spin up automated tests in literal seconds. We just have to accept that the actual physical act of coding is becoming increasingly automated. But AI has a major dependency.
Here's the harsh reality, and this is a big one. AI is only as effective as the context it receives. If you feed an AI coding assistant a vague prompt, it is going to confidently write buggy, useless software, and it'll probably hallucinate a few libraries while it's at it. But if you provide it with a well-structured, intent-rich specification, it produces dramatically better, highly accurate outcomes.
Because of that, the day-to-day role of developers is shifting in a huge way. The specification turns into a literal executable blueprint for AI agents. the developer is becoming an editor of intent rather than a typist of syntax, carefully refining these specifications to guide massive AI-driven output.
Section 5. The business impact.
So, what's the bottom line here? It's pretty straightforward. Perfectly clear specs improve quality by reducing defects. You accelerate delivery because developers aren't pausing every hour to ping someone on Slack to clarify a requirement. You slash costs by avoiding rework, which, let's face it, we all know is the biggest, most frustrating drain on any engineering budget. And you supercharge your AI tools by giving them the structured context they desperately need to actually be productive.
Section 6. The future of software.
Look, because AI can basically instantly spin up a microservice these days, the new bottleneck in software development just isn't code creation anymore. Typing characters into an IDE at 90 words per minute, that is no longer what holds us back. The new bottleneck is purely about understanding. It's about figuring out what the user actually wants rather than what they said they want. It's about business objectives, system behavior, and true intent.
So I want to leave you with this provocative thought to take away with you today. Moving forward into this AI-driven era, the ultimate competitive advantage isn't going to belong to the team that types the fastest code. It belongs to those who master clarity. Because the future of software development doesn't start with code, it starts with a specification. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope this gives you a completely new perspective on how to build your next great product.